Hey everyone, Mtashed here, and today I want to talk about Malfeasance. Malfeasance is a pretty damn cool looking gun, and it's got a very unique perk. Explosive Shadow taints these slugs that you shoot, and they burrow into your enemies, so when you stack enough of them, which is like 5, they blow up and do extra damage. It's got almost max stability and a pretty large magazine, so it allows you to do it a couple of times usually on a boss before you have to reload. It also has Taken Predator, where you do bonus damage against Taken enemies as well as Gambit invaders. Now, overall, this is one of the most beautiful looking guns I think I've ever seen. I absolutely love Malfeasance for the looks. The entire art style is amazing, but is the gun any good? Malfeasance is the epitome of a niche weapon. Unfortunately, unless you're fighting Taken, one of the perks just doesn't work. And if you're not fighting tanky enough enemies, the other one, the main perk, the exotic perk, doesn't work. Now this is an issue because as a primary weapon or your kinetic weapon, you're going to be using this thing a shit ton. You're going to be using it most of the time, 90% of the time. But 90% of the time, the perks aren't even going to benefit you. Now, if you're playing some Gambit and you're dealing with the Taken in the middle or a Gambit invader, or maybe you're in the Dreaming City and taking out the Taken there, or maybe you're doing a strike where there's a bunch of Taken, this will get some value, it'll get some playtime, and I do think it's pretty good because it hits quite hard against the Taken. Especially against yellow health bar ones where you can load 5 or 6 shots into it and get those explosions. But for the rest of the time, when you're fighting regular Vandals and Drags and Acolytes and things like that, this thing feels a bit underwhelming, and I wouldn't recommend it to most people, if anyone. Honestly, unless you're fighting the Taken, I don't think there is a situation where I personally will ever use this. Ever. The reason I say this is because of the archetype. It's a 180 RPM hand cannon, which means it shoots faster than pretty much all the other hand cannons ever made, but that also means that it does less damage. And so in situations where you simply could have got that one-hit kill on a Goblin, an Acolyte, a Vandal, or a Drag, sometimes the Malfeasance comes up short, and you're going to leave it with just a sliver of health. Or maybe it's a yellow health bar one, and you had to shoot it twice or 3 times. Well, you're going to have to go for the full 5 with Malfeasance. And yes, you might get that to proc, but it doesn't feel very good, and you're really blowing through ammo. This thing has 15 shots in it. Well, my Midnight Coup has 13 shots, and I can kill things typically in 2 or 3 less shots than this piece of shit. And so, what ends up happening, in my opinion, is you unload a ton of rounds, and your DPS is mediocre at best, and you're constantly reloading, and you don't have any perks to fix that, and I just feel like Malfeasance doesn't reward you as much as I thought it would. I thought that laying into enemies would equal DPS God. I thought that maybe this thing would be a shining beacon of hope in the primary exotic game. But unfortunately, I think Malfeasance comes up short in too many situations for it to be good. And when I say good, I don't mean usable. I mean worth an exotic slot. Something that you want to equip. Something you're going to go out of your way to equip. In the niche situations, in Gambit, clearing out those enemies in the middle, yep. Taking out the Primeval, yep. Good weapon. Great weapon. Yeah, I would say even great weapon. But then you have to remember that 80% of the Gambit game is killing other regular enemies. And so you're not even going to get those procs on it. And so is it a great weapon? I don't think so. I think at doing its job, taking out Taken and laying into bosses, yeah, I would recommend it. But that's pretty much the only time. In every other situation, there are simply better weapons that are most likely legendary weapons, and so it makes Malfeasance feel a lot less valuable than it should. Now, in PvP, this thing is abysmal. I would never recommend this in PvP. I tried invading a couple times with it, and it's just... No, it's 180 RPM hand cannon with no solid perks that are going to help you in any way. If any of the enemies are at a range, it's going to take like six or 7 shots to kill them. you're going to close the gap on them, and they're going to destroy you with a midnight coup, things like that. Don't use this thing in PvP. There is just way better weapons. That's all I wanted to say. I hope I didn't let you guys down too much. I just wanted more from Malfeasance. I thought it was going to be better. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.